You ready?
Hey, Tony. Yep, we're good.
Okay, all rise to the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Alvarez,
Present.
Councilman Larka,
Here.
Councilman Lord,
Here.
Councilman O'Connor,
Here.
Supervisor Hay.
Here. I make a motion to come out of the executive session. No action was taken.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we just got done with the executive session. The first item on the work session is discussion, New York State S. .854-A/A.124A bills legalizing adult use cannabis. Okay, they've been trying to get this in New York State for many years. So it's now legal. Towns and villages, of which you are one, have until December 31st of this year, or 9 months from the effective date, to either opt. Well, you can opt in, or if you don't opt in, then you're out. Our town would be keeping public input. So I'm going to be asking after this meeting tonight, well, during the meeting, to have a public hearing on this next month. But let me point out a couple of things in the bill in case some of you haven't read it. I did forward you with our backup, some of the information. So the ink is barely dry in this bill, and already there's people out there that are spreading misinformation about the bill. So that's part of life, a lot of misinformation. So as we all know, there's pros and cons to pot smoking and the legalization of cannabis. Now, the pro side, there is going to be 30 to 60,000 jobs being obtained here in New York State, and they expect to get $350 million annually in taxes. Now, the interesting thing with this, and I wish they would do this with regular sales tax, but they don't, Putnam County sales tax is 8.375%. Of that, 4% goes to the state and 4% to the county, and 3.75 goes to the MTA. Now, the interesting, and the county level, the 4%, the county will only get 1% of the 4%, and whatever town or village opts in Putnam County, they would get 3%. So there is a
Tony, just to clarify, it's an excise tax, not a sales tax. That's why it's being treated differently.
Okay, so it's not, there would be no sales tax on it?
I don't know if there'll be a sales tax, but this is an excise tax. 4% of the state excise tax would be split between the county and the locality. 1% to the county, 1% to 4% to the locality that's the host of the facility that is selling the the dispensary, if you will.
Wait, my understanding is 4% goes to the state, no? And that the 4%, 3% go to the town or village, and 1% goes to county. I talked to Bill Carlin on that.
But it's a little different. It's an excise tax, not a sales tax.
Okay. I'll be corrected. But the interesting thing is, bottom line is, we don't get anything on sales tax, but in this, we would get 3% and 1%. And on the negative side, the conversation on that would be endless. So that's pretty much what as far as that. We're gonna have their discussion tonight. We're gonna call for a public hearing to get the public input at the end of the meeting, if anyone wants to make comment on that as well. So board members, what are your thoughts? I don't see anyone smoking any cigarettes.
I'll go first. I'm not really in favor of having this in the town. I don't think it sends the right message. Being a father of a child here in town, and again, I just don't think it sends the right message in the benefits of the tax revenue. So I just did some quick math while you were talking, and I talked to Lori Bell earlier on the tax levy here in town. So for every $1 million in excise tax, the town would receive $30,000 roughly, which is equivalent to 0.4% of the tax levy here. So on a $400,000 house, it'd be, essentially for every $1 million of marijuana that's sold, that each taxpayer or a taxpayer with a $400,000 house would save $3 a year. So I don't think the positives outweigh the negatives, in my opinion. So again, right now, I'm really not in favor of this, but it'll be interesting to see what the public says.
I have not really had a chance to consider it that much. I'm happy that we would get some kind of revenue if we did host a dispensary here. My concern would also be, the use of marijuana and driving, and how that can be enforced, or how that can be policed. Already with drunk driving, you don't really get it until somebody's swerving or somebody is hit in an accident. I'm not sure how we would police marijuana smokers and drivers. But again, it's early for me. I really can't say yes or no on it.
I've got a couple of comments. So it's not really the kind of business that I think is probably a good fit for the town. I also don't think, I'd have to research it more and find out more about it. But as far as I guess obviously there's a vigorous black market currently in place, and I've always been of the notion, if you want to drive a business into the ground and not make it successful, let the government run it. And I think that the black market is still going to be there. I don't think that the revenues that are being projected or really are I think they're far from realistic. I can't, if they could point me to other states where it was that successful, as more and more states do this, I think that's also going to spread that out a little more and make it less successful for our government operation. And then the other thing, as a former smoker of tobacco products, I mean, the whole point to having a vigorous anti-smoking campaign for the past 3 or 4 decades, I don't understand why now we're sort of encouraging smoking something other than tobacco for either the altered states of mind or whatever, the recreational use. I guess, it's decriminalized at the state level. Okay. But, I don't see, trying to promote it, as much as hard as they're trying to promote it, I guess, at the state level. I wouldn't be in favor of having the town. I would want the town to opt out of this particular dispensary measure, because that's really the only thing we can opt out of. We can't opt out of, the decriminalization of it. That's very clear in the documents that you provided on it. So, but I don't think it's a good fit for business in town. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, the business guy in me says, yeah, it's no different than a liquor store, and why not? Thinking about tax revenue or, to bring into the town. But I agree. I don't think it's a good fit for the community. I'd like to hear what's said at the public hearing. And right now I'm in favor of opting out. But like I said, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little intrigued at, the potential business side of it.
Has everyone had a chance to speak? Michelle, everyone speak tonight?
Yep, everyone's spoken.
Okay. Okay, like I said, we're gonna call for a public hearing on it. We'll listen to the public input and we will go from there. Okay, we make a motion now to go into regular portion of the meeting, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is a resolution opposing Senate Bill 04547/AA04854, providing for state control of accessory dwelling units. As you know, we've long had a problem here in the town of Southeast. We're getting it a little bit under control, still have a long way to go, but this bill would just put us right out of business, and I don't think it's a good thing.
I agree.
I called the senator's office today to get some information from him on the pros to this bill. Because the way our resolution reads, I can't disagree with what we're going to be saying. But I was hoping that I would hear from him about why we should consider this. Unfortunately, I didn't get any information from him. I understand it's probably or there are reasons outlined in the bill itself as to why it should be considered. But the wording in our resolution points out the shortcomings in the bill, and for the good of our town, I would have to agree that we should oppose this.
Now, I can tell you for sure, every town in Putnam County is pretty much opposed to the bill, and pretty much in Westchester County as well. So this is pretty much a universal agreement amongst many, except for up in Albany, and I don't know where they came up with it, why they even started it, but has something to do with New York City, most likely.
Isn't Mr. Harcum, Senator Harcum, the prime sponsor of this bill?
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Yes, yep.
He didn't talk to anybody that we know. Okay, at any rate, now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast adamantly opposed to Bill Senate 04547/A for Assembly 04854, which would establish statewide standards and regulations for the establishment of accessory dwelling units, and be further resolved that the town of Southeast calls upon our New York State elected officials, New York State Senator Peter Harcum and New York State Assemblyman Kevin Byrne, to oppose Bill, same number again, and be further resolved that the town supervisor be and is hereby is authorized to correspond with the town New York State Legislature delegation to communicate the town's opposition to the referenced legislation, and be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded forthwith to New York State Senator Peter Harcum and New York State Assemblyman Kevin Byrne. So move for further discussion.
I'll second.
Any further discussion, gentlemen, ladies?
I think earlier on, there was a typo, I think, that I saw. I think one of the sentence on the fifth whereas, I think it said Patterson, or is that,
No,
or is that where you recorrected?
it's been corrected. What I just read from is resolution number 1, it says revised.
Okay,
There
sorry.
was 2
Thank
versions.
you.
Patterson kind of wrote the resolution we all followed, and then I did it, and then I forwarded up to Will, and he made
Okay.
some adjustments as well. And if
All
I
right.
missed Patterson, that was my bad, not his. Can't spell. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 2, resolution appoint member to fill unexpired term for the planning board. We interviewed earlier this evening. We entertained 2 gentlemen that were interested in the board. And in our discussion, I'm going to move forward the name of George M. Pengis, P-A-N-G-I-S, to serve as the member till December 31, 2023, and be further resolved that the appointment shall take effect immediately upon taking and filing the appropriate oath of office of the aforesaid appointee with the clerk of the town of Southeast. So move for discussion.
Second.
Second for discussion? Did you say, Eric, did you second it?
Yeah, second.
Okay, very good. Okay, the one thing, when I call the gentleman tomorrow, I'm gonna make sure he's aware that he has to fill out the proper forms. We had a person we appointed to a board one time and then didn't want to do the ethics, the financial disclosure forms. So I should actually, we didn't mention either of the 2
Yeah.
candidates, and I
I
kind
forgot.
of,
So,
most people don't have a problem with it, some people do, but we did lose one candidate, not to this board, but to another one that, resigned because they didn't want to file that. But any responsible person, I don't think they should, have a problem with that, but whatever. Okay. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 3, resolution. Orchard Eats LLC, 230 Guinea Road, liquor license, waiver of notice of requirements. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Southeast hereby waives any and all rights it may have to substantiate procedural compliance with section 64 of the Alcohol Beverage Control Law regarding notice to the municipality in connection with the application of Orchard Eats LLC, 230 Guinea Road, Brewster, New York, 10509, in connection with the proposed on-premise liquor license by the New York State Liquor Authority, and be further resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to forward a certified copy of this resolution to the New York State Liquor Authority, 80 South Swan Street, Suite 900, Albany, New York, 12210-8002, and to the attorney for Orchard Eats LLC forthwith. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion.
Is this unusual? Have we done this before? And what are we waiving with the substantive and procedural compliance with section 64 of the beverage control law?
Okay,
Section 64 requires an applicant for an on-premise liquor license to notify the municipality in which it's going to be located 30 days in advance of filing the application of their intention to file an application. So all we're doing is waiving that 30-day notice requirement so that they can go forward and file the application and go through the process of being reviewed by the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board.
And this is something we've done before.
yes,
Yeah, we've done it many times.
yeah. Almost everyone applies for a liquor license, asks for the same waiver.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 4, resolution, Brewster Honda Service Center, release a performance bond, establish a maintenance bond. Now therefore be resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to cancel and return the original performance security for Brewster Honda Service Center, 2-4 Allview Avenue, in a remaining secured amount of $32,500, and to return any and all original bonds, deposits, letter of credit, or other indicia of security posted in connection with the project upon the express condition that the applicant/owner first follow the following to town clerk. A, landscape maintenance bond in the security amount of $2,000 for a period of 2 years. And B, a stormwater facility maintenance bond in the security amount of $20,200 for a period of 1 year. So move for discussion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I make a motion here with section 284, New York State Highway Law Agreement for the expenditure of highway funds. Mike Burke has put forward the roads that he plans to do this year. We will post them on the internet. Well, actually, they're posted there now, but we'll repost tomorrow because I have one site, the roads that they plan to do for this year. As you know, we've agreed to get a new paver, so make the job that much easier to get done. Is there a second?
Second,
Discussion.
Tony, is the material being used, is that just regular pavement or is it the oil and stone stuff?
He only uses the good stuff.
Okay, so I didn't know what macadam or whatever that is. was.
I call it tar and feathering.
Wasn't it fiber mat? Was that the
Yeah,
word?
yeah, that was it. Yeah, but
Yeah.
tar and feathering.
We don't want that. Okay.
No, he's using the good stuff.
Okay.
Any
Yep.
other comment?
I had some questions about, but I'll call Mike. I know Griffin Road, that's where we first moved when I came up here, and there seems to be some drainage issues on the road, and I just wondered if that was going to be taken care of at the time of the paving. I think one of the people that live on that road did some tree cutting. So yeah, that was my only question.
Okay, ask Mike, but I'm gonna tell you now, what they normally do is, what they do this year is they do the drainage, but he's just in there now. But what happens in the future, they will do the drainage the year prior to. But call Mike tomorrow. If it has a drainage problem and he's aware of it, I'm quite sure they'll be doing it at the same time.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is a motion to set a public hearing for New York State Senate 854-A/A/124A-A bills legalizing adult use of cannabis for Thursday, April 22nd, 2021. That's our next meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Tony, earlier you said you were going to set this for next month. Was that a misspeak, or
No, April 22nd, our next meeting.
earlier you said next month,
Oh,
but
did I?
yeah.
I'm ahead of myself. No, it's this April's 22nd. Sorry. All good with that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Now, did we take a vote on that? I lost track.
Yes.
Oh, we didn't,
We
so,
did. We did not?
no.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
When I said yes, all right. I swear we voted on it.
When I agree, there was a vote.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And the last one is a motion to set a public hearing for the rezoning and the master plan for Route 22. I spoke to Ashley today, and I'll be in the paper for next week for next one, next meeting, which is April 22nd. Is there a second?
Second.
Anyone comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, with that, we'll go to the public for recognition. Eric, would you tell them how to do that, please?
Yeah, I'll actually just open it up here. So you should be able to unmute yourselves. There's not that many people here, so.
Michael Legori is asking a question, but he can
Guys,
probably unmute himself, but are the changes to the draft master plan published?
they will be published, yes. They're not published at the moment, they will be. Right, when we make the announcement of the public hearing, which will be tomorrow, it should be out there by then. Well,
Tony, I'm still a little unclear. As we spoke earlier today, we were waiting for a resolution adopting the changes to the Route 22 master plan. And we already had a public hearing on that.
right,
So what is going on the 22nd? Are we going to be actually changing the zoning code?
but haven't we spoken to that already, though, that we have?
No, we haven't. What we've been going through is an amendment to the master plan. The town's comprehensive plan having to do with Route 22. We had a public hearing on that. We have not adopted the master plan. And you're setting another public
Okay.
hearing for what it appears to be the same thing. What next has to be done, once we adopt the master plan, then we have to craft the text changes for the zoning code. And that would be adopted by a local law.
Okay, so
So there's no
we don't
more.
have- So-
It's not, I don't think it's, until we have an adopted master plan. I don't think it's appropriate to start setting up public hearings on changes to the zoning code.
okay, well, I thought, okay. Okay,
I'll make a motion to table.
okay, well, we're gonna table is the motion to put it in the paper tomorrow. I'll talk to Ashley. She's on vacation today. So we're gonna make a motion on the table to squash the motion to put it on to a public hearing for the next meeting. I'll second.
Yes, I'll second. Okay.
Aye.
What I think you should be doing, Tony, is having on the next meeting a resolution approving the master plan for Route 22 as amended. And as Mr. Liguori has indicated, he'd like to see what the amendments to the master plan are.
Yeah, so would I.
Okay. Okay,
Okay. Scott, you guys can try to unmute yourselves now. It should be working. Scott, I see you have your hand raised.
Good evening. It's Scott Seaman from the Brewster Board of Ed. Hope all are doing well. I wanted to say I wish Councilman Lord a quick recovery.
Thanks, Scott.
We need you back, Johnny. Just a quick update on the schools. We have everybody back in. All the children and families that wish to attend are back in, and we still have a percentage of people doing distance learning. In the lower schools, I think it's 80% in person, 20% online. And the high school, middle school, I think it's 70-30 split. But they've been in this full week now, everybody's back. We're working on that. The only other plan right now we're also working on is graduation, because WestCon has canceled all graduations for the year. And that's where the schools normally do their graduation. So it will be something. We're not sure of the format yet, but it will be in Brewster. And once we know more information, we will let that out. And once again, we appreciate all the work you guys do on our behalf. And if there's anything we can do, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak? You can unmute yourselves.
Town board supervisor, Jack Piper. I realize it's not the public hearing yet. but this-
Eric, we can't hear you. Eric, you're coming in low.
Eric, you're unmuted. With the volume's just low.
How's that now?
Oh,
That's better.
Good?
Yeah, that's better.
All right, sorry about that. Just wanted to comment quickly on the legalization of cannabis. So while traditionally I'm not really a fan of government bans, I think all of your comments tonight were spot on. I don't see the benefits outweighing any potential negatives here. Surely share Supervisors Hayes' comments about the sharing. I wish we shared all of our revenue like that, but as Eric Larka pointed out, I just don't think it's enough in this case to outweigh any potential negatives. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else wish to speak? You can just unmute yourselves. It should be working. Going once. You could also type in the chat or raise your hand. Going twice. Okay, I think we're good, Tony.
Town board?
Yeah, just want to remind everybody, Earth Day weekend is April 24th and 25th. There's information on our website about getting bags and other supplies to help the town with the cleanup. And the weather's really nice now. Bike trails are open. Lots of kids and other people are in the streets. Please slow down. And please be aware of other people that are on the roads. That's all. Thank you.
I have about 2,000 people in there waiting for the bags and everything, so we'll be in touch with them the Monday before. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to close tonight's meeting.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.